Have you ever met the Rock, Dwayne Johnson?
Like every other Samoan, he's my cousin. So
Hey, I'm Rico Gear. Welcome to the Ruck. I'm about to interview a good friend of mine, Seilala Mapusua. But first, here's some news. It's no white Christmas, it's an All Blacks Christmas, as the All Blacks are forced to ditch their families for the Rugby Championship. New Zealand Rugby Chief Executive Mark Robinson has been left fuming after SANZAAR released a draw for the upcoming games. The final test of the tournament will be against the Wallabies on December 12, unless the New Zealand government gives the players and staff a special exemption. They won't complete isolation until December 27. Didn't the New Zealand government just allow the Wallabies a 3-day exemption for the Bledisloe Club? Who's writing these articles? SANZAAR has released a schedule which will likely annoy Springboks and Pumas players also. Then again, I hear they've been pretty naughty, so Santa probably won't stop at their lockdown hotel. Because of these dates, some All Blacks could decide to skip the Rugby Championship. New Wallabies coach Dave Rennie is considering Noah Lolesio for his debut at number 10 for a test in New Zealand next month after smashing his performance for the Brumbies in their epic final win a couple of weeks ago. So now even Qantas have abandoned the Wallabies. Coach Dave Rennie and captain Michael Hooper will be looking for a win to end the 18-year Bledisloe Cup drought. The Flying Kangaroo were Wallabies sponsor for over 30 years. Hey, does that mean that the Wallabies can get back Israel Folau? Because, didn't the Qantas CEO hate him? Is that on? Okay, it's time to chat to Seilala Mapusua, newly appointed Samoan head coach. And of course, with your Samoan background, question, have you ever met the Rock, Dwayne Johnson?
Rick's, I can confidently say that I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting the Rock. Like every other Samoan, he's my cousin. Hopefully one day I'll get to see a bit of family reunion.
I've got a better idea. I reckon he would give a pretty awesome motivational speech. So I reckon, bro, you get him in before a test match.
100%. That'll be unreal. Or we can give him a jersey and he can come play.
So hey, bro, tell us. We'll just go back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about just briefly your rugby background. How that sort of transitioned for you into becoming a professional player. And we'll go from there.
Easy. Migrated to New Zealand with the family when I was quite young from Samoa, and it wasn't until we moved to Auckland in the 90s, in the early 90s, and I started out at Otahu Rugby Club. First time I played in a rugby game was, I think, under 13s, and then a couple of years later I was shipped off to Wesley College, out in Pairata.
That's right.
And from there I was fortunate enough that the big guy Jonah was at Wesley, and there was just a massive rugby buzz at the school in the 90s. Had some pretty successful teams, and
That's right.
yeah, it kind of just grew from there. I was lucky enough to play in the Press 15.
On Wesley College, did you have any other guys your year that went on to play professionally as well?
Yeah, we had in my year we had Haleti Pole, George Stowers, and Sione Kepu. We were all in the same year.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome.
So it was a pretty cool team to be a part of.
Stacked.
all the right age as well.
21.
Then from there, got an opportunity to head down south to Otago once I left school, and really just kicked on from there.
I was gonna say, how does a Samoan survive down in the deep south, bro?
Bro, I have it's I still kind of look back now, 20 years later, and think how did I survive that? I remember the first day one, kind of I was lucky it was in January, so it was quite warm, and I remember walking around the main streets of Dunedin, and not a single brown face inside. And I remember thinking, wow.
Yeah.
we're not in South Auckland anymore. And then winter hit, and that was interesting. I've never slept fully clothed with track pants and a hoodie on ever in my life before then.
A bit like sleeping on a marae, I think, bro. You sleep in your tracksuit.
Yeah, that's just so you have something to wear the next day, though.
That's right. And you had a few seasons with the Highlanders too, Mups?
Yeah, bro. I remember when I was down there my first couple of years. I remember you come down and had a jam with the Landers for a while, and yeah, had 5 seasons with the Landers, and then yeah, shot off overseas.
Awesome.
We went to the UK and was at London Irish for about 5 years, and that was again an awesome experience, and myself and the family really loved it, and it was great club, great people, and then managed to sneak in Japan on the way home, and was in Japan for another 5 years, and yeah, got back home about 4 years ago in 2016.
Yeah, man, awesome! What a great career, Mups, that you've had.
I've been really blessed, Reeks, and yeah, just pretty lucky as well. I'm really happy. I really love that we were able to come through the time that we did come through, where it was early days of professionalism, and because looking at what the boys go through now, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would have lasted as long as I did, seeing what these boys go through. So it's really blessed, mate.
But on that also, we if we were playing now, we would be making way more money too.
That is true, 100%.
So hey, bro, you've been named head coach of the Manu Samoa, through towards the next World Cup. Congratulations on your appointment. What's sort of the plan, Mups? I guess nothing happening this year, but obviously next year there could be a World Cup qualifier. Tell us a bit about what's sort of in the pipeline.
Yep. As you mentioned, there's nothing for 2020. So our next big assignment is the Rugby World Cup qualifier against Tonga next year. At the moment, it's as I understand it, it's locked in, but there's also there's a lot of things to consider there, especially given the current global climate. But that seems to be that is our main focus, and I'm planning to have a few games leading into that. In terms of Pacific Nations Cup, I'm hoping that goes ahead as well. It's anyone's guess at the moment in terms of what's happening next year.
And as we both know, our Samoan brothers have always been up against it with different challenges, over the years. How was that looking in terms of getting access to all the top Samoan players that might be still playing, like in the UK? I think there's a few boys at Bath and, at Bristol. So there's a lot of guys over there. Are you able to get a hold of those guys for the qualifiers, or do you have to stick local?
It all depends on if it falls within that Regulation 9 window with World Rugby, and I'm hoping that my old coach and good mate Pat Lam releases some of those boys. then we should be able to get a full strength team. Otherwise, we'll have to use our local boys, which is again fine, and Tonga will be in the same boat. They're obviously going through a few issues of their own at the moment, so I'm hopeful that they can get it all sorted, and we'll be able to play the qualifier next year.
No, for sure. Those are we certainly look forward to those games, and see how the team performs. We always know they're physical encounters. And I think that's the thing we look forward to the most, especially us rugby boys. We like to see who's going to do the big hits and the big runs. So plenty to look forward to. Mups, is there anyone that, any young players out there that you've got your eye on, or someone that could be the next superstar that's sort of flying under the radar? Is there a name that you have that you might be able to share with us?
Well, I was going to say, young Hunter Paisami was one I was looking at, but he's obviously been selected by the Wallabies. So it's he's an exciting he's an exciting player, but we've got a young guy. He's not so young. Theodore McFarlane at the moment, who's in Samoa. He's a great prospect. He's athletics and basketball background, and pretty great frame. So I'm pretty excited to see what he can do on the rugby field. And I think with a bit of with some good development and coaching, he definitely could be one for the future. Otherwise, there's so much talent scattered right throughout the Pacific and New Zealand and Australia. So it's making sure that I think for me, the task will be keeping an eye on all possible players, and also making sure that I'm developing and growing the talent on the island. That's my next task, is just to get back to Samoa, get my feet under the desk, and start working with our local boys. Because the difference between the Samoans in Samoa and the Samoans everywhere else is the boys in New Zealand and Australia especially, they get to come through these awesome programs, and that they're developing as we know, and especially in New Zealand. New Zealand's a conveyor belt in terms of the players coming through, and that's because they're getting awesome coaching at schoolboy level, and there's great programs for them to develop and grow. So that's the plan, to try and implement something similar on the island.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And talking about that development stuff, there is talk of a Pacific Island team being involved in Aotearoa Rugby next year, or collaboration with Australia, however that's going to take shape. But having a Pacific Island team, involved in Super Rugby can only be, a great opportunity for the Pacific Island boys, but also for you as a Samoan coach, which means you get to, have potentially a lot of good players closer to home playing in a really good competition. So that must be something that is promising.
Oh, you've hit it on the head there, Reeks. That definitely excites me, the being able to keep our players a lot closer to home, and playing in a possibly one of the toughest domestic competitions in the world. So that can only be a positive thing for One Samoa, and so I'm definitely backing a Pacific Island team in either Super Rugby Aotearoa or the collaboration, or even playing in the Super Rugby Australia. Like I said, it allows them to stay closer to home, closer to family. So they've got their support networks there, and then also just playing that regular awesome competition means that they're turning up to internationals energized, and the development will be a lot quicker, so we'll be able to get players playing international rugby a lot quicker.
I remember, Mups, my first test match, unfortunately I had to play against the Pacific Island team in my first test match, which, it would have been nicer to play probably Japan, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Canada or something, but I had to play against the Pacific Island team, and man, it was, I got really excited by, watching the team not play against us, but play against the South Africans and play against the Wallabies, and be so close to tipping over all three of them. So having that opportunity potentially again for next season is something I think a lot of people could get excited by.
Yeah, I remember you scored a try in that game too, Reeks. I was running the tee that day, as I got a 1 match suspension from the week before we played the Wallabies, and I may have not have spear tackled George Gregan. I remember that test match well, and yeah, no, you were you were awesome that day, Var, and then to top it off with that nice little try. I was a bit gutted that you scored it, to be honest, but I was happy for you at the same time, bro.
Well, I to be fair, I was probably running for my life because I had to mark Brian Lima, and then we had Sione Lawaki coming across. So I can tell you what, I was running pretty quick for that try, bro. Hey Mups, we so moving on from that, we had the opportunity to play together for the Barbars in Hong Kong a few years ago. We played against the Saracens rugby team who had just come off, I think, winning the English Premiership, and then obviously, I guess again it was a bit of a Pacific Island team that we put together. Which also included a couple of other guys. I think we had Nick Easter, the English number 8, and was it Martin Williams, the Welsh number 7. But I think the rest of the boys were all made up from sort of Fiji, Samoa, and a couple of the boys from New Zealand. I think that particular game was probably one of my favourite, games outside the professional sort of stuff. In terms of getting together, bonding, and spending time, was probably one of my favourite teams to be involved with.
Oh, bro, that was an awesome week, connecting with the boys, and to be fair, like a lot of us were well into our 30s by then, and but a lot of us also came through the professional era to get
peaking.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And yeah, no, you're right. It was just such an awesome week to want to reconnect with a lot of the lads, but also playing together and being in their environment. I remember you scoring the winning try in that game too, or to score a try to put us into the they put us into a position to win. And I actually remember, I think it was about 2 minutes ago, or time might have been up, and because of the week we had, some of us were breathing a lot harder than others. and
we were well hydrated.
And I remember the ball. I got the ball and I just threw it, knowing that you'd be on the wing, and we'd have an overlap. And so you took off as you do, and then I remember thinking, man, we got a chance to win. So I don't know how, but I managed to got everything inside me to run a support line inside you. And I remember their fullback coming across to cover, and I was like, this is my time. I'm finally going to score the winning try. Now all Rick says to do is draw and pass, and I'm in. And he's come across, and I'm inside you screaming, and he's gone to make the tackle, and you've just bumped him off and scored the try yourself. And I'm like, I ran all that way.
And we had Elvis kicked the winning. Elvis Seviali kicked the winning conversion, I think it was.
Yeah, he was, because there was about 4 of us just discussing, right, who's going to take this kick. And we were trying to, you take it. We turn around, Elvis is gone, and just made a T using his boots into the ground, put the ball up and kicked it. We were like still trying to figure out who's kicking it, and the ref blows full time, and we had won the game.
It was it reminded me of sort of a bit like the under 5s, where we knew it was the winning conversion, and the whole team was like standing really close to Elvis while he kicked the ball, so we could, I guess, celebrate in anticipation. But like some of the guys that we had in that team, obviously the 2 Langi brothers, and the late JC and Siri Rambini and Oreni, Troy Flavel, like the collaboration that we had that week was very special. And one thing I do remember, Mups, is from that particular game, we had Mills Muliaina playing at fullback. He obviously played 100 test matches for the All Blacks. And for that particular game, I remember him having his own personal water technician. I think it was a guy called Stephen Brett. And I remember the English winger, he stepped Millsy like Mills wasn't even there, and Mills was falling over, and I think he decided to have a little power nap while he was down there because he didn't get up for a while. The old mate was a little bit tired, and the funny thing about that whole week is that we were able to probably only have a couple of hours sleep and still managed to put in some sort of performance, but certainly memorable. And the next day, Mups, I remember we were sort of poolside, and I remember Henry Tuilangi getting a hold of you and throwing you in the swimming pool like you were a toddler. Geez, that guy's impressive, isn't he?
It's probably, since I was a toddler, the only time anyone's manhandled me like that. I actually, I remember thinking at the time, I had flashbacks. I had flashbacks of my dad picking me up and putting me in the car when I was about 6 or 7. And he did. I think it happened all of a sudden, and you're right, poolside. And he threw me in with everything, my wallet, everything was in my pockets, and I came up and I couldn't even get angry. Come out of the pool trying to who did that? I look up and I see Big Hendrik standing there. I'm like, all right, shut up. Good one, you got me.
and hey, for the people that don't know Henry Tuilangi, all you need to do is just go onto YouTube, write in Henry Tuilangi, and you'll see what type of rugby player he was. And I guess like a lot of us New Zealanders didn't really know Henry. Obviously knew Alasana and that, but Henry must have, did he play a lot of his rugby obviously in Europe?
Yeah, so there's he went over straight from Samoa. Obviously the oldest brother, Freddie went over to play rugby league and then ended up at Leicester, and then just slowly one by one brought all his brothers over. I think he was he was a hit at Leicester. Then he was like, oh wait, I've got 5 other brothers in Samoa. Can I bring them over? Yeah. So Henry went over. Henry and Alessandro went over together, and then slowly they brought the other brothers, Andy, Vavayan, and then of course young Manu, who would have been about 12 at the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Certainly enjoy watching Manu play with that physicality. It's great to watch. Hey mate, so Mubs, hey, thanks very much, bro, for your time. Want to wish you all the best, for the campaign, coming up next year, and obviously with an eye on the next World Cup. We'll certainly be following with a lot of interest, and just want to wish you and Manu all the best.
Appreciate that, Sneaks. Thanks for having me on the show, and real big challenge ahead, but one that I'm really looking forward to. And if there's any Samoan qualified players in Australia watching this, I'll look you up.
Bring us up. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, Mubs. Thanks for your time, brother. We'll certainly keep in touch.
Thank you, also.
Chorus, catch up.